My name is Edmund Rollett. I'm Associate Principal Horn of the Utah Symphony. I wanted to play trumpet or cello when I was in 4th grade, and my older sister obligated me to play the French horn, and that was that. But as I began to play it, I really found I enjoyed its sound. There was in the school we had a sign-up sheet for instruments that we would like to play in band, and I hadn't played an instrument before. I had only sung. She insisted that I should put French horn down. I don't remember if I put it down as my first choice, but it turned out that the band director was a French horn player and was very excited about the prospect of having another horn player, and so made every effort to make sure that there was an instrument for me. And so that's how I ended up playing horn. I don't remember a very specific pivotal moment when I decided that I would become a musician, nor any particular thing, but as I went through the process and had wonderful opportunities, I was able to go to a public arts middle school. I was able to play quite a lot, and there were many youth arts institutions in Pittsburgh where I grew up. I was able to play in a chamber orchestra and the youth symphony, and even do some chamber music. And as I went through, I realized how much I loved it, and I realized that I did have some talent for it, and that there were possibilities there. I was very lucky. My parents were willing to get me private lessons from when I was in 5th grade, I think. But I also had a number of public school opportunities, including a program that we called Centers in Pittsburgh. I don't remember its official name, but it was a Saturday program, and members of the Pittsburgh Symphony, as well as other professional musicians in Pittsburgh, came and provided lessons. There were ensembles on Saturday mornings, and all free to the members of the Pittsburgh Public Schools. The orchestra, as many of you will know, is generally divided into sections: the string section, the woodwind section, the brass section, and the percussion. It would seem most obvious that the horns are part of the brass section, but in many ways we're also considered to be part of the woodwind section, and we act as something of a bridge, sort of a glue between these two pivotal sections in the orchestra. You'll often find the horn is playing as part of one or the other in all piece, every piece, and it's a very integral part of the orchestra. And I think it's an instrument that's very analogous to the human voice. One of the very great horn players, Mason Jones, said once that he played horn because he couldn't sing. If he could sing, he wouldn't be a horn player. I think because of that vocal aspect, the horn has been assigned many times the role of the hero. And we lend to the idea that it's a heroic instrument. It's hard to say whether that is a product of the particular composers who assigned it that role, or because it's in and of itself very well lent to that. One of the composers who most established that idea was Richard Strauss. And he, of course, assigned the horn in fact, he has a piece called The Hero's Life, which is about himself, and the horn is the hero in the piece. Now, Richard Strauss was a horn player. His father was a horn player, and he chose specifically in many of his works, and especially in that one, to give the horn the role of the hero. Now, basically every instrument can do a trill. Now, trill is rapidly changing between two notes, usually notes that are next to each other. And the horn has a special sort of trill that we tend to use, which is called a lip trill. Now, other brass instruments are capable of doing this same trill, but it's not particularly common. The lip trill is where you have two notes that are, say, a whole step apart, but you can play them without making any change to the fingers. So first I'll play a trill using the valves, and you'll hear the timbre of that. And now I will do the same trill using only a variation in my embouchure to achieve the same effect. And we can do that on a number of, not all combinations, but many combinations. And many composers have used this to that effect. Now, this is used in the repertoire, especially in the concertos of Mozart, and I'll give you a little example of that. What I love about playing in a symphony orchestra, and particularly in the Utah Symphony, is that the music we play is just absolutely magical, and just to hear it live is a real, almost transcendent experience, and then to be a part of that on stage it's often very hard work. It can be very taxing. You put a lot of yourself on the line on a daily basis. But every time you get out there, and especially you just play an amazing concert with some of the masterworks of all of history, and you get to be a part of that, it is an absolutely magical and exhilarating experience. Music is a form of communication that is, again, not to repeat myself, but is quite transcendent. It is accessible no matter what language you speak. People can meaningfully communicate through music with people they have absolutely nothing in common with, including the complete inability to even communicate one word. And yet music is immediately, I think, understandable. I spent the early years of my career in Mexico City, and I initially did not speak Spanish when I moved there. But on day one, I went to work, and I was immediately able to be a part and work just as if I was in the States. And everyone could understand each other, even though there were Mexicans and Americans and Russians and Bulgarians and Poles and just about everything else in that orchestra. So now I'm going to play for you a few bars from the beginning of Mozart's Fourth Concerto for Horn.